What's up, everyone? It's America Plus. I'm your host, Cole McCormick. It's another week, another episode. What's going on, people? Yo, 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 yo. This week, folks, oh my goodness, it is August 6th. We are in the new month. We are officially in the back half of 2023. It's insane. It's 11:33 in the AM. And today, this week, I have an insane episode for you guys. We are talking music. We're talking art. We're talking value for value. We're talking innovation. We're talking independence. We're talking freedom, people. We're talking, dude. We're talking, man. It's a hell of a time right now. I have an interview. I have interviewed. I am posting right now the interview with the number one trending artist of the Value for Value music on Wavelake, none other than Ainsley Costello, everybody. Yes. Another round of applause. I love it, man. I love it. We were able to talk for like 45 minutes, and we were just chilling, just chit-chatting about like her thoughts on Value for Value and Bitcoin and what her experience was going to Bitcoin Park, and just what that entire world might mean for artists. So if you want to hear some real opinions, if you want to hear a young artist making their way up and finding a real way to grow a community, this episode is exactly for you. This is super inspiring. I'm inspired by Ainsley just because she's a person who's around my age who's doing it. Like, she's really doing it. Up until this point, so we recorded it a couple days ago, a couple days ago from right now. And right now, let me just go to the top 40 right now. So this is here's some statistics from Wavelake. So she uploaded this song called Cherry on Top, which I'm definitely going to play at the very end. So here's the structure of the episode, by the way. I'm just doing a quick intro, the interview, and then I'm going to do a recap after the interview, and then I'll go through the boosts and America Plus Value for Value, and then we'll wrap it up there. But she posted this song a few weeks ago because she went to Bitcoin Park, and she'll get into it. But this song has been number one. Cherry on Top has been number one for 12 days on Wavelake, and she has made about 657,000 Satoshis. Can you believe that? Which, just in the matter of a few weeks, 657,000 Satoshis were given to her via Value for Value. And this episode is a huge celebration of Value for Value. I tweeted out like a long, my first longer tweet about Value for Value. Hopefully people see that. This is just really cool, man. Like, listening to the song multiple times. And first of all, I heard the song before it was debuted anywhere. So like, I'm giving myself a pat on the back for that. And I knew it was going to be big, dude. I knew it was going to be huge. Like, as soon as I freaking heard it, I knew it was going to be big. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, Adam Curry is playing it. Next thing I know, people are tweeting about it. Next thing I know, it's number one on the charts. Next thing I know, I listened to a hit before it was a hit. Like, it was crazy, dude. Check the boosts. I boosted before it happened. You can verify that, man. So I'm giving myself a pat on the back for that. And it's just cool to talk to a person who's doing it, man. Like, just to get back to the artistry of it all, man. This is in depth. This is what I want America Plus to be more about the artists, more about the people using the new systems, the people building the new systems, the better systems, the parallel economy. Like, this is it, man. This is it. This is it. That's what Michael Jackson said. This is it. This is it. Anyway, so without much more to say, enjoy the interview with Ainsley Costello, and enjoy the show, guys. Ainsley, how are you today?
I'm doing spectacularly. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a sunny day today. I'm pretty happy. So you posted your song like barely 2 weeks ago, and it's number one. Like, how does that feel right now? Like, it's like That's insane, right?
It's so wild. Like to think that like, so one thing that I think is so cool about the whole like value for value and like Wave Lake model is, yeah, like Cherry on Top, which is my song that's on Wave Lake. I actually have two songs on there, Cherry on Top and a song called Two Ships, but Cherry on Top is the one that's at the number one spot right now. But I think it's so wild because I've been on the traditional streaming platforms for just under 4-ish years. And in 2 weeks on Wave Lake, like I've made like so like way more like, and it's not really about the money, but on Wave Lake I've made like way more in just 2 weeks than like you would that I made in the month of April. Like I checked all the statements and I compared them, and I think that's so wild but so incredibly helpful to independent artists. And it's just so cool to know that there is like a really awesome community of musicians slash people who are like into the value for value model, and it's all just coming together in a really cool way.
Yeah, so like break that down. Like I want to know how you like fell into it, because how old are you? You're like 20, right? Or like
I'm 19.
19. Yeah. Like how does a 19-year-old get into value for value, Bitcoin? Like it seems a little niche.
Honestly, I'm asking myself that same question. So what happened was, my dad, he's very interested in the whole like Bitcoin value for value thing, like really kind of just has been studying up on it for a while. And a couple of weeks ago, he and my mom were like, "Hey, Ainsley, like there's this thing at Bitcoin Park in Nashville, where we're going to go demo, or we're going to go to a demo of this site called Wave Lake," which, I mean, as you know, really cool value for value, like model for independent artists to put their music on, in addition to like Spotify and Apple Music and all those other things. And so I went with my parents to go see the Wave Lake demo at Bitcoin Park, and it was just like the three of us were just completely overcome with how cool it was.
Wow. That's cool. And then you just like posted the song? Like just that easy?
Yeah, we posted a song and took a chance on it because Sam Means, who's the main guy over at Wave Lake, he was so cool and so nice, and he was like, "Yeah, like we just want to make sure that like you feel good and we want to support you." And so I took a chance just like putting the song up there, and it's like number one on Wave Lake, and it's got like almost 400,000 sats, and it's so wild.
That's so nuts. Did you know anything about Bitcoin before that? Because that's like a skyrocket like trip.
I literally didn't know anything. I knew the name, and that was about it.
That's so funny. So like so your dad sort of told you about it. Do you usually listen to your dad about like when he tells you something? Is that common with you guys? Is that like a pretty open thing?
I mean, well, my parents and I were my parents are really cool. I really lucked out in the parent department because they moved me to Nashville when I was 15 to pursue music professionally. But one of our kind of like paths when we moved here was we're a unit. Just because I turn 18 doesn't mean I'm going to instantly be doing this alone. My parents are very involved in every aspect of what I do, every aspect of my career. And so this was just something that my dad had kind of started. I don't know if pursuing is the right word, but he had started getting really interested in it. And then he was telling my mom about it. And then the Bitcoin Park and Wave Lake thing just kind of happened. And it was just a very natural byproduct.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. I love that because like it's rare when you have like strong family units. And that's so cool that you guys have like you've taken a conscious effort to stick together like that while like they're supporting you. That's super powerful.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for my parental unit, my team.
That's awesome. Had you been to Bitcoin Park before? Because I haven't really heard of it myself before this. But before this story, had you heard of it before?
No, I hadn't really heard of Bitcoin Park. It's like really the day it happened was kind of my first introduction into the whole Bitcoin world. My dad had been going to at Bitcoin Park. They were having a Bitcoin seminar all week, or a Bitcoin what's the word? Almost like a mini trade show. I want to say, I don't think that's the right word, but you get the gist.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad had been going there all day Monday to Friday, and my mom and I went on Friday, and yeah, it really was just so weird and funny, and how it all happened. Very chance like.
That's super cool. I'm just curious. I wasn't even like, I was just curious about like what the space was. Like, is there like grass? Like, is that like a real park or is it just like some random building?
So I think we were just in one building, but it was it's a little house. And I don't know, have you ever been to Nashville before?
No, I haven't. I need to.
So
I know I
there's this
need to.
thing. Yeah, for sure. Well, hit me up when you're down here. But it kind of reminds me of, so in Nashville, there's this place called Music Row, which is the big strip of houses, or this big strip of buildings where all the major record labels and like publishers are in music and in Nashville. And so we call that Music Row. And Music Row was just a bunch of these little old like 20s, 30s craftsman houses. And that was basically the same thing as the Bitcoin Park was. It's at this like cool little house. I think my dad told me that at one point it was the Florida Georgia Line house, that they either like owned it or it was their recording studio at one point, but it had some sort of musical tie to it. But yeah, it seemed like it was some sort of a craftsman house that they had renovated and made into this cool space.
Wow, that sounds really cool. Actually, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it definitely was. I'm excited to go back.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're more interested in Bitcoin now, now that you've sort of like made a pretty good amount. Like that's like close to it. Like that's like over $100. So like,
Oh yeah, I think it's over $100. $100. I think I checked it yesterday and it was like $108, $109.
yeah. So like how like on a confidence scale, like how would you like see Bitcoin? Like, do you know how to like think about it? Do you know how to talk about it with people yet? Or like, what's your confidence level with that?
I would say I'm at a very even 5. I understand everything, but I'm not really fluent in all the lingo yet. Like when I'm reading articles or something, I'll have to send it to my parents and be like, "Hey, what does this mean? What is this?" Kind of. I'd say that I've got a very good foundational understanding. But if I was like the head of a Bitcoin company, I wouldn't trust me to be their spokesperson just yet.
Yeah, the reason I ask was because like it's just so different, you know. It's so like I still have a hard time describing what this thing is, like let alone describe Bitcoin to a person. There's also this whole other value for value and these different apps and these different websites, and it's like you're using podcasting technology and Bitcoin, but it's like just one thing, and it's like I still have a hard time talking about that sometimes with people. So just interesting to hear another person's perspective on it. Like I feel like I'm at like a maybe 5.5 when it comes to the confidence level. Like I'm so not technical. Like I'm only in it for like the philosophy, for like you know what I mean. I'm in it for just the ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's cool. Like it seems like it's working. Because me personally, I started doing a podcast with Bitcoin, and I got into it because I love the concept of like the person listening can send me value. The person listening can send me what they want. And that's like a really powerful thing, because you usually hear stories of charities if they have some sort of option where people can pay what they want. Sometimes like they make more money. Like sometimes that model actually works how it should, and the product actually makes money. So like this is like a totally new thing with music. Are you gonna like continue with it? Like what's your ideas around that? Are you gonna keep posting to Spotify, or are you gonna do like a hybrid post? What are you thinking about that?
I think with how it's been going right now, I think it'll kind of sort of be a hybrid thing, as I'm still kind of figuring out how my music and my career fits into Bitcoin and value for value. I think with my next songs, like they'll still go to all the traditional like DSPs, and then we'll still keep posting to Wavelake. I mean, so much of it is just that, I mean, there's this amazing, like, forget about like how awesome the payment is over on Wavelength, but like just the community over there is so inspiring. And it's really just great to feel that after, just being on the traditional streaming platforms for almost 4 years. And like, you're feeling like you're fighting 24/7 to be heard, and like, you're like clawing your way through at all times. So, that part of Wavelength is really cool.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's going to take some time until it gets like normal, you know? Like I feel like it needs to get a little bit easier for like other normal people who like aren't even interested in anything technology. I feel like it's going to take a minute for them to like really understand what it is. Are you going to like tell like other musician friends? Like have you already told any of your friends? What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I'm definitely gonna. It's funny you say that. I have a friend coming over today, and we're gonna have a nice little hangout, binge the new season of a TV show we both like. But she's
What are you watching?
same kind of boat as me. We're gonna watch the new season of Heartstopper.
Oh, there you go. That's going to be good.
We're so excited. But yeah, she's a lot. She's very similar to me. Acoustic singer songwriter, just amazing. Her name's JoJo Scott. Check her out. But yeah, I mean, she'll come over and I'll probably just start blabbing about it to her. But oh my gosh, I mean, of course, I feel like I'm already posting about the whole value for value model on Wave and kind of whole Bitcoin world on my Instagram now. And so I'm already kind of shouting it from the rooftops.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, it's like a new vibe. I feel like there's like a new wave or there's like an early wave of artists who are like trying to utilize Bitcoin or trying to utilize technology in like a different way. So keep doing that. Like keep posting. Like just keep doing that. Keep like talking about your experience. Keep talking about just like how open it is for everyone to do it. Because like if your friend gets like minorly interested, then like that's another artist who's creating on a new system, and that's like really interesting. You mentioned something about community. Is that something you're trying to build on Instagram and other places? Like, what are your thoughts on like artists and communities? You know, it's sort of become the new normal when it comes to putting out stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think every independent artist's biggest challenge today, at least, is trying to find your fan base in your community and the audience who's going to just be dedicated to you and your music because of how oversaturated everything is with how, like, it's funny. I often say, like, when I'm talking to people about this, like, this time that me as an independent singer-songwriter is coming up, and it's one of the easiest and the hardest times to break through as an artist because it's great and easy because we have so much access, you know, like you don't have to have a record deal to put music on Spotify anymore or to be on the radio anymore. But at the same time, because there's so much access, there's a lot of different people all trying to break through. And because of that, it can be harder and more challenging to find an audience. So yeah, definitely. Me and I think almost every other independent artist you talk to will say like, oh yeah, we're just trying to find our community, we're just trying to find our people.
Yeah, that's so hard because you know there's like 80 different social medias, and all of them are going to say that like they're the best one or they're the hottest one, whatever. Like
Yeah,
I don't even
definitely.
know how to navigate it. It's crazy to me that there's like people who feel confident in using social media, and I'm like I just bought
Here we go.
Twitter. I just bought my blue check mark, right? And I'm like, all right, like
Uh-huh.
what am I doing? Like, am I tweeting? Like, what is this? Like, what even is this? Like, how do I even share what I'm doing? It's so different. It's such a new thing, but I
And it'll be different in a few years. Like 5 years ago, the big hot thing that you needed to be on was Instagram, and now it's TikTok. And then in 5 years, it's going to be something else, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, where's the stability, or like, where's the like, I don't know. Like for me, I'm like, where's the plan? And then I get like overwhelmed, and then I'm like, "Ah." Are you the same?
Mood. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, for me, like I'm 19, I'm very Gen Z, and I've definitely grown up in this generation that's kind of really been the first generation to grow up with the internet and social media. And so I definitely find myself feeling overwhelmed with social media. I really try to limit how much I'm on it. With Instagram, I don't even have Instagram on my phone. Whenever I need to go and I need to post something, I'll either go on my mom's phone or a friend's phone because it's so much. It's so hard for me to constantly be on social media because I mean, there's that comparison that we all feel. Like you go on and you're like, oh, this person got this and I didn't, you know. And so just sparing yourself from that whole comparison thing, I find is really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It is like the new normal, which is crazy though, because like when it comes to like I don't know, there's like these actor strikes. When it comes like to the writer strikes, like there's people like really barred from writing, and because like they don't get paid enough, and it's like
Yeah.
here's this new system where they can actually try to build a community and like engage with people and create something, and if they find it valuable, then that value will be given to them. I think your song, first of all, I love Cherry on Top. I freaking love Cherry on Top. It
Thank
sounds to
you. I
me,
appreciate it.
no, it's like, like for real, for real, for real, for real. It's like some like old school Avril Lavigne. It's like girl punk. It's like 90s. It's like 10 Things I Hate About You. Like I get this wild vibe.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yes, yes. Like you're on top of the roof, you know, you're on top of the school playing your guitar. Like it's that
Thank
vibe.
you.
And the first time I heard it, first of all, a little pride, like pride moment for me. Before it popped off, I listened to it. Like I was a fan of you before your song was on any podcast, before it was anywhere. I
Well, thank you. I
check the
appreciate you
boosts.
listening.
No, like of course, of course. I recognize the value, I recognize the quality, and I knew it was a hit. You know, sometimes like when you listen to a song and you're like, this is gonna be big one day. It's not big right now, but it will be. Like I had that moment with you, and like I was right, and I'm just happy for you. And it's like it's just a cool thing. Like what inspired you to make that type of a song? And like do you just love those rom coms? Do you love that era? Like what inspires you right now?
Um, Yeah, I mean, so definitely I'm super inspired by that whole kind of era. And it's funny you bring up Avril Lavigne. We're on the phone right now, but so you can't see this, but when you said I heard Avril Lavigne, I did one of those like, yeah, like fist pumps in the air. But yeah, no, I wrote that song about a nasty breakup I had with a friend because, you know, romantic breakups aren't the only breakups that we have in our lives, right? So
Right.
I wrote that about a falling out that I had with a friend. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. Ever since I moved to Nashville, I took a hard pivot away from the music that originally inspired me. When I moved to Nashville, I was doing the whole like very like singer-songwriter country thing because when I started doing music in Seattle, like country's not really big there. So I was kind of a novelty. And then I get here and I'm like, maybe I don't want to be a country artist. And then I found out that, oh my God, Paramore's from Nashville, Kings of Leon is from Nashville. And so that was really a big mind shift for me. And so yeah, ever since then I've just kind of fallen in love with listening to and writing that music, that kind of music.
Wow, that's so cool. So you like how like can you even describe it? Is pop even an accurate term? Is like country even an accurate term? Like what is this?
I mean, yeah, I would say pop is an accurate term. It's funny. One of the ways that one of my videographer, his name is Jason Johnston, who actually directed and shot the Cherry on Top music video. He was like, Ainsley, I would categorize you as pretty punk. And I
Yeah.
think that's so apt. And I was like, can I trademark that? I think that's awesome. So, I mean, to me, that's kind of an all encapsulating term of, hey, I really love pop, but I also really love the songwriting of, you know, of like old Paramore rock and of Kings of Leon. And so, and I love punk and I love like the sparkly, like glitter punk thing that's happening. So, I would definitely say that whenever people ask me like, hey, what's your genre? I always think of what Jason told me, and that's that I'm pretty punk.
I like that. So it's a new genre. That's what I'm taking. You're inventing a new genre. Pretty punk, value for value, Bitcoin. That's wild. Like that's innovative. Like that's cool. Like that's like do you know how cool that is?
I mean, I'm just here for the ride, man.
Well, I'm telling you straight up, like that is like that's really interesting, and like people can really vibe with that. Just to hear that there's an artist doing something new with good music, like that's really powerful. So, just kudos
Thank
to you.
you.
Kudos to you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, and one thing that I thought was really interesting when you brought up the writer strike a couple of minutes ago, I think
Mhm.
there's like a really interesting dichotomy between the writers in the Hollywood world and the singer songwriters in the music world, because in some ways I think the singer songwriters of today have been, or not even up to date, just over the past 50 whatever years, the songwriters who are creating the music have like been notoriously like, hey, we're not getting paid. Like, we really would like to be able to make a living and like sustainably support ourselves off of this. So I just think that there's an interesting dichotomy between what the songwriters and the artists have been saying to the music industry and what the writers in Hollywood have been saying to the film industry. And I think there's just this overall kind of reckoning that's happening in the music industry, where people are finally starting to say, hey, like, I deserve to be able to live off of this art that I'm creating. And that's going back to the Bitcoin and value for value model. Like, I think that's so much of where that model stemmed from. Like, people are tired of not being able to support themselves, and they're like, we're gonna pay the new way. And so I just think that's really interesting.
No, that's exactly what it should be. So have you gotten your other teammates, like have you gotten the people who have helped you make music? Are they hooked up to the value for value as well? Did they know about it? What's that creative team like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky. I get to work with so many amazing producers and songwriters, and I feel like I've found myself a pretty solid musical team here in Nashville. That it took a couple of years to break through the noise a little bit, but I think I've finally found them. I haven't really, not that I know of, that like the people who I'm creating music with are actively involved in that. But it's definitely going to be something that, like, I'm gonna go right with one of my friends next week. And when we do our catch up, I'll be like, hey, guess what happened with this very cool value for value thing? So I'm sure that, I'll be spreading the word even if I don't mean to.
No, it's good because they got to get in on it. You know, like it's transformational. Like if you can just hook up everyone's wallet to this one site, and if a person likes it, you know, everyone gets an even split. You know, everyone gets an agreed upon split. Like that's so revolutionary. So I think I feel like every creative needs to hop on this. Every person needs to just figure out a way to try to just figure out how you can create value, right? Because if it weren't for your hard work, if it weren't for your team's hard work, the song wouldn't be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the whole point of value. Like, that's the whole point of value for value. Like, there's, like, you can tell that there's like blood, sweat, and tears in the music, and you can also tell when there's just like something slapped together in GarageBand or whatever, you know, and they just like made something just to get views or something, just to be like clickbaity or something. And like this is like a whole new way of just being like honest, just being authentic, right? Like I feel like that's the real revolution. Like sometimes people might have to like lie or steal, or they might have to like bend their morals. Sometimes you always hear these stories of people getting in nefarious situations with like producers or with music people or with like anyone who has power within these old systems, and then here's this new thing, this random thing, Bitcoin, and this random like podcasting tech. Like, do you realize how insane this is, Ainsley?
I mean, revolutionary is the perfect word to describe it. I mean, artists and songwriters have kind of had enough of the greater entertainment industry, and they're deciding to start living on their own terms and say, hey, no, everyone, this is what I'm worth, and pay me what I'm worth. And I think that's really great.
Yeah, it's like I can't stop thinking about it. Like that's why I keep going back to it. So I'm just gonna run this to the ground.
Do it.
So do you think you'll stay in Nashville long term, or like what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. That's something I've been wondering myself. I don't know if I'll be in Nashville forever, but I've been here for about 3 years, and so I don't see myself moving anytime soon. But you know, I'll never say never. You know, I'm always down for new adventures and new things, and I love to travel, and I love to see different parts of the country and see different music scenes and get involved there. And so, yeah, I think I'll be in Nashville for the foreseeable future, but I wouldn't be surprised if I land somewhere else.
Where would you go if you could like travel anywhere right now? Like where would you go?
Oh my gosh. You know, well, last week I was in New York for some shows, and I love New York. And so I'd probably say I'd love to just go back and hang out in the city and just get to be a tourist, because I was there for work last week and I didn't really get any pleasure time.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say New York, or I'll say Barcelona. That's always been my number one bucket list location.
I feel like do you think Nashville will get bigger when it comes to music? I mean, it's already huge. Like it's already an epicenter, but you keep hearing these stories of like people are leaving LA, people are leaving New York City, people are leaving like usually there's like stories of like people leaving these big cities going to these smaller cities. Do you think Nashville has like some magic? Is there like something special about Nashville?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even from the time that I've been here and just in 3 years, I think the greater music scene has expanded so much because I think when a lot of people think of Nashville, like, yeah, it's Music City, but primarily over the last however many decades you want to say, people have mostly associated country with Nashville. And Nashville is still definitely a big country music hub, but it's not just country music city anymore. I've met so many artists who are kind of in my similar vein that I wouldn't have expected to meet here. So like there's a really good like indie rock scene here that I don't think everybody really knows about. Like there's a lot of like really cool upcoming kind of like dance pop and bedroom pop people here. And there's I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know if I've personally come across a ton of R&B people, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 10 years we have a good like burgeoning R&B scene.
Wow. So it's popping, is what you're saying. It's hot. Everyone go to Nashville right now.
Go to Nashville. Like there are like skyscrapers being built every day. Like there's so much being expanded. I heard this statistic a while ago that like I don't know. I'm probably not getting it right, but there's like 130 families that move to Nashville every day or something like that. It's wild.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
For
Maybe
sure.
I gotta go. Maybe I gotta go. Maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the secret
That's
move.
the move.
That's so cool. So what else do I got? So you told me the story of how you got on Wave Lake. You told me what's inspiring you right now. Who inspires you? Like, who are your favorite artists?
Oh my goodness. Who aren't my favorite artists? I mean, What Girl My Age wasn't inspired by Taylor Swift.
Of
But
course.
I mean, I said earlier, like, I really like just fell in love with Paramore over the last couple of years that I've lived here. But I'm also inspired by a lot of other people that I don't think like you'd really expect like kind of a pretty punk artist to be influenced by. Like I grew up on a lot of Sarah Bareilles and my dad was a musician. He went to LA in the 90s to do the same thing that I'm doing here. My dad still is a musician and my mom's just a music lover. And so I grew up on like Sarah Bareilles and a lot of like KT Tunstall and Nora Jones. And, but I also just love like Tori Kelly. And, there's an artist who I'm listening to right now named Grayson Chance. Like I'm just all over the map.
Wow. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's always like interesting to. I feel like no matter what inspires us, like you could even be inspired by some sort of like melancholy, like darker music, and that could still like influence the current like positive music. You know, like I just think it's interesting to hear other artists' point of view because when it comes to like stuff that I'm inspired by, I'm always looking at like I might want to make a comedy movie, but I'm always inspired by like a funny moment in a drama. You know, so it's interesting to hear what other artists are like are looking at, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure.
What's
Listen
the
to a lot of like Pink and Kelly Clarkson too. Like I'm really inspired by a lot of like the kind of power vocalists too.
right? I know I think I went on a Kelly Clarkson binge when I was like in high school. I just did like a whole month of just listening to only her because my family used to watch American Idol a lot. Do you even know that? Do you even know how Kelly? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love Kelly. I've been listening to her. I've been looping her new album pretty recently since it's come out, and I think that's incredible.
Yeah, is it good? Should I listen?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Like there are these like amazingly like so oh my gosh, they're so hooky. These melodies that she has in some of the poppier songs on the record, like as I'm driving around Nashville, like going to a session or whatever, like I'm trying to understand how she's like humanly and physically doing these because oh my gosh, she's just amazing. Yeah.
No, she's like a legend. Like
But
honestly, like she's gonna be known forever. Like for as long as time. Like there's always gonna be like Kelly Clarkson. Like that's just iconic.
Oh my gosh, she's just one of those who just her voice alone, I feel like can stand the test of time. She's just such an inspiration to me.
Yeah. How long have you been singing?
Um, kind of my whole life. I mean, like I said a second ago, my dad went to LA in the 90s to do the same thing that I'm doing here. My dad was a touring musician before I was born and had his own stuff going on in LA. So I grew up around music, like my dad playing music around the house and going to see him and his band play at the local restaurant when I was younger, like stuff like that. So I've been surrounded by music my whole life. I've kind of been singing forever. There's these I think my mom has a video of me somewhere, like when I'm 4 years old, singing Single Ladies by Beyonce somewhere.
That's awesome. You got to save that video for the archive documentary.
Exactly. Yeah. Just collect it.
So how was New York doing shows? Was that exciting? Like, do you travel to New York often? Is that one of your main spots? Like, how are the live shows going?
Oh my gosh, the two shows we had up there were so fun. I wouldn't say that like I constantly travel to New York, but I have like tallied up a good bunch of shows in New York over the past couple of years that like I've been able to get back out on the road since COVID. But oh my gosh, they were so much fun. We had two shows. One of them was at the like legendary and revered Rockwood Music Hall. So that's like I am pinching myself to get to even like that I can even say that. And then the next day, I played this summer camp upstate New York, and that was probably the best show I've ever done. Like the kids there were so excited and like they knew the words to my songs and they made posters and they brought pictures of my face and they had me sign things like backpacks and arms and other ligaments and shoes. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. But like they knew my music, they knew the words to the songs. And so that's never happened to me before. And so that was a really special moment.
How did you feel when you heard them just singing along?
Oh my God. I mean, that it's never happened to me before. And that's something that I think every artist dreams of. So when it comes true, it's kind of an out of body experience. Like you kind of black out and then you watch the videos later and you're like, oh my God, did that actually happen?
No, because like every artist says it's like a surreal experience. So like to have that like happen, like that's like that has to be fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. And so they love Cherry on Top too. Like that was the song they were most excited to hear. And throughout different points in the set, like the entire, like however many kids, like 70, 100 kids started chanting, Cherry on Top, Cherry on Top. And like when I said we were going to do that next, there's this awesome video I'd love to share. But there's this video where I said, should we put the cherry on top of today? The screams were deafening.
That's like pretty surreal. Like that, I can't imagine people doing that for me. That sounds nuts. Honestly, that sounds like a big celebration. It sounds like you're in like a pretty cool spot right now. Like you got a hit on your hands. You got people liking you. You got a good team right now. Like how are you
for
feeling
sure.
about
I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, like you're like super positive and like do you feel like you have like a handle on things, or do you have like a plan of how you're gonna like keep pushing this momentum?
I mean, it's just in my DNA to be a songwriter and a musician. And so even though Cherry on Top was my last song that came out in December, I haven't released anything this year because I was finishing up college. I graduated from Berklee College of Music in May. But I've been writing and recording ever since then. And so now we're really just getting ready to pump out the next couple of singles. It's funny. I was talking to someone today, and I'm kind of in this phase right now where I think musicians go in cycles of, okay, like for 6 months, all I'm going to do is write. And then for the next 6 months, all it's going to be is record, and then like approve mixes. And so right now I'm kind of just in like recording galore land. The last couple of days I've gotten like 4 or 5 mixes of different songs coming back. So we're definitely getting ready to put cannons into the cannonball for sure, or cannonballs into the cannon, whatever the right way to say that phrase is.
You're going to war is what you're saying. You're ready.
Exactly. Yeah, I have my armor on.
Good. Is recording your favorite part of the process?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know what my favorite part of the process is, because I think when you write songs and you're in the room and with your collaborators and you're writing and you know that you have a great song on your hand and it's kind of like you're just being gifted this thing, there's not really a greater rush than that. And then when you walk out on that like post session high, you're like, oh my God, I just got this amazing song. But it is so much fun really getting to be in the studio and record like while you're watching like the producer do drums, or like you're just hanging out while like they're building up the session. I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite part. I love all of it, and this is why I'm a musician, because this is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's about the whole thing, right? Like that's what I hear. I read this one book. Do you know the producer Dave Rubin?
Yeah.
So he put out a book in the last year called The Creative Act, and his whole thing is just getting used to like being disciplined in the entire process of whatever it is you're doing, whatever that thing is, to have like seasons of being engulfed by one section of it, and then to move on and to sort of just let something sit and to explore some other avenue, because one thing that you write down on paper might sound good, but then when you actually speak it and when you sing it or whatever, it might sound different, and so you might have to change things. And I was curious if that was similar to you. Like, what's your normal flow? Do you sometimes go back to writing if you need to rewrite something, or like how does that work for you?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to writing and writing songs, I'm a very hook oriented writer. So I start a lot with the main hook of the song, or I start with the chorus, like with cherry on top. The very first thing I had for the song was you put the cherry on top of the mess you made. And so then if I'm writing a song by myself, like there's a lot of rewriting that happens. I'll go back and I'll just kind of tweak it over time. When I'm writing with other people, it's pretty 50-50. If I'm writing, I have a song that I was working on this week, and I'm hoping to get the final mix back maybe tonight or tomorrow, which is super exciting. But with that song, we went back in and we tweaked it. But then if you're writing with other people, sometimes like you'll sit down for 3 hours, you won't get up until it's done, and then there's the song, and you don't necessarily need to change it. Like the whole process is really differs from one group of collaborators to the other.
Mm-hmm. How many instruments do you play? Are you playing like multiple things sometimes for some recordings, or are you having like different artists, like different musicians come in for those?
Yeah, it's actually been a minute since I did anything but sing on a song. But I have, like, in the past, like on my first record, which came out when I was 15. We made that in our home studio in Seattle. I did a lot on that album. Like I have played guitar on a lot of my songs. I've played piano before. I'm playing ukulele on Cherry on Top. So if you go back and you listen to that, that's me. Hi. But yeah, so I play, my main instruments are guitar. Like I play that on stage whenever I have a show. But yeah, I play piano too. And then I don't know if I can really count ukulele, because anyone can learn how to play the ukulele in 20 minutes. So
yeah, don't tell my mom that, because I don't think she agreed with me when I was a kid. That's so cool. That's so cool. When it comes to putting out music, has that changed since you were a kid? Like, have you always been confident with like, okay, like I put a song out and it's gonna get seen, or like what has been like what is your view when you post a song? Are you expecting success? Are you expecting just to express yourself and you don't really care what the response is? What's your mindset around that?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I don't release a song unless I really feel like I really captured an emotion. Like I'm a songwriter, that's in my DNA. I've written every song that I've put out. So it is a huge part of it is expressing myself, and a huge part of the reason why I write is because it's my way of articulating what I felt like I couldn't in the moment. Like that's definitely the case with Cherry on Top, and I've written some other songs like that in the past. But yeah, it's half expressing myself, and then it's also like I want to find an audience for these songs, because I know that there are going to be similar people who are going through similar things, and these songs will help them get through a time, or like maybe they just want a song to drive to late at night, or maybe they want to feel like there's a friend who understands exactly what they're going through. And so it's really, I feel like, a beautiful mixture of the two. It's expressing myself and then also like wanting to move the needle a little bit each time, just find a couple more people each time who I feel like are liking the music.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's really cool. All right. My next question. Now I'm just like making all these up as I go along, so I hope these haven't been like boring questions.
No, you're good. You're keeping me on my toes.
Right on. Right on. So what's going on next? What's happening next for you? In the next like 6 months, like closing out, we're sort of in the back half of 2023. What's going on with that? What are your plans?
Yeah, I think I've been pretty quiet in the beginning of this year just because I was finishing my degree and I was also just writing a lot. But I think in the next 6 months, you can definitely expect a lot more music. Being more constant like I normally am. In 2021, I put out 11 singles. I put out one each month. And then last year I put out 5 new songs. And so I think in the next couple of months you can expect to see me getting back on the horse, for lack of a better term, just getting these songs out there that I've been writing and kind of holding as my little secret for the last couple months, and just getting them out there.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting. Like, what is that like? Because usually, like musicians, like they release an album, but I've also noticed that there's been like a normal cadence with like with many different artists. They release like a song a month, or they might do a single every week. Like, what's your plan with that? Like how are you thinking about releasing your music? Will you always just release a few songs every few months, or what's that like?
I mean, so the first body of work that I put out was an album. I wrote that album when we still lived in Seattle. It came out when I was 15. But since putting that album out, I think the music industry has definitely seen a shift towards it's like everything that's old is new again. We're kind of back in the 50s where it's very, very single driven. And so as much as I love albums, and I was raised by a purist musician and I love listening to albums and I want to do another album someday, independent artists, at least right now, don't necessarily have the luxury of being able to put out an album and then say, peace, I'm going to go make another one. See you in 2 years. Like, independent artists constantly have to fight to be heard. And so I think that's a big part of the reason why you see so many artists doing singles right now, is because the internet has just destroyed our what's the word I'm looking for? Our attention span. Yeah, the internet has destroyed our attention span. And so if you kind of give music out in bite-sized pieces, I think it's a little bit more manageable for today's fans. So yeah, I think for the foreseeable future, I'll just be putting out singles, but never say never. I definitely want to do another album again.
That's really cool, though. That's really cool because it's almost like you can focus on a song for like a few weeks. You can put out the audio only, and then like the next week you can do like a whole music video release on social media, and it's like you're able to maybe you can have like one song, it be like its own like prism. Like there's all these like different ways that a fan can like engage with. Like you can actually spend time on talking about this one song, talking about what inspired you, talking about that. Like I think that's actually more beneficial. Like just from my perspective right now, just like hearing that, because I don't know anything about the music industry. I don't know anything about like releasing singles. I don't know anything about that. So it's just interesting to hear that maybe that's an opportunity to lean into like the story of what you're inspired by, or like or who's the team around that. I feel like people are interested in that, and maybe that's why they're listening to more singles.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's because singles are still really fun. Like, you get to kind of reinvent yourself and rebrand yourself with every new song. And you can still put out a bunch of singles with an album mentality. I think the next kind of batch of songs you'll be hearing from me, even though it's probably not going to be an album like wrapped up with a bow, like it's very, very cohesive messaging wise, sonically. And so even though it's not an album, like there's a tie between all of these songs, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's kind of catering to the industry and the attention span of today's listeners, but then also like still giving yourself that artistic, what's the word I'm looking for? That artistic gift of wanting to do the artistic thing for you, but then also giving the industry what it wants, which is just singles and just constant a new constant product.
Right. So you're still trying to tell stories throughout like the songs, you know, like 5 songs might have like one long theme or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's cool. That's cool. That's what I like, because I like being able to follow an artist like with a certain vibe for a certain amount of time. It's like I don't know, like in 2018, Kanye West produced like 5 different albums, you know, and they came out in like 6 weeks of each other. And it was like bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
and like all these different albums were like so good. And like there's so many artists who have that, you know, or like talk about like a comedian, like a Will Ferrell in the early 2000s. You know, he just came out with Old School, Step Brothers, and like just like all these different like they happen to be iconic comedies. So that's cool. Like you can sort of do like the same thing with your fans. You can really like try to create a vibe, and you got this. What was it again? Pretty punk. You got this pretty punk vibe.
Pretty punk. Yep.
Pretty punk. You got to lean into that. Like, is that like just like messy hair and glitter? Like, what is that? Like, how can a person identify pretty punk?
I mean, for me, you just hit it on the head. Teased hair, and I have tinsel in my hair right now as we speak. I mean, part of that is just like I love the like the grunge aesthetic from the 90s, and especially being from Seattle, like I definitely grew up around all of that. So I think it's kind of a mix of whatever you feel. Like I've always kind of looked at the pretty punk genre of like Hayley Williams from Paramore meets like Jess Day from New Girl.
Okay. Yes, I love New Girl.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. Okay, I'll remember that because this is a new thing, so we got to let people know. We got to figure out. We got to like identify. You know, we need the definitions.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's just lots of color and glitter and whatever makes you happy. And then for me, punk is just like writing important messages, and I think that's a lot of what I've been doing with writing this new phase of material. I write a lot of like female empowerment songs, and I write a lot of introspective songs just about life and about doing our best and about kind of understanding ourselves as a person like you'd try to understand another person. And so for me, punk is just like doing your best and writing and speaking those messages that are important to you.
Yeah, that's super powerful. All right, let me think. Do I have anything else? Is there anything else that you wanted to share? Did I not touch on a topic that should have been touched on earlier? What are your thoughts right now?
I mean, yeah, I think you hit everything. I think this conversation has been a blast, and I think I'd just say look out for some new music. There's definitely going to be a lot coming towards you in the next couple months, and I'm really pumped for it.
Well, right on. Ainsley, thank you so much for coming on the show. We got to talk again, okay?
Oh my gosh, for sure. I'm here anytime you want to talk. I'm always up for a chat. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ainsley Costello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Wow. How was that? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful. I thought that went well, right? That went smooth, right? I thought that was like a cool, casual situation, right? I hope so. Tell me what you thought of that, because this is value for value evolving. Like this is like an insanely incredible time to be alive right now. You are witnessing, if you're listening to this right now, you just listened to artists evolving their work. You just listened to people growing their community and actually developing something for themselves that they have more ownership over. And like it's just like calm and casual. Like it's just it's awesome, dude. It's awesome. I'm just happy about it. I'm happy. I'm hyped. It's just confirmation of value for value, the system. So while that was playing, so I mentioned that was I mentioned that I did some tweet earlier. So when I recorded that earlier, that I posted that. Let me just go back to twitter.com. well, it's still twitter.com. I did this cool value for value post, and I'll link it right now. And right now, it's at Adam Curry already retweeted me. So shout out to Adam Curry for retweeting me. And it already has 2,000 views. My tweet has 2,000 views. Huh? So that's cool. That was during the interview. So whatevs, dude. Whatevs. I'm just on one right now, guys. I'm on one right now, folks. I'm feeling real good. Feeling real spicy. Feeling spicy, man. Yeesh. Anyway, what a time to be alive, man. Talking about value for value, this is something that is the system that I continue to lean into. If you are someone who is like thinking about starting something or thinking about posting more content, like you got to get involved with value for value. You need to at least understand the term value for value. It's incredibly important. It's something that I firmly believe is going to be a piece of everyone's content creation, monetization model. It is going to be a layer. It's going to be a piece of what you need. There's no other way to think about it. I don't understand why it won't be. You know, I listen to a couple of people like Kyron Down, and he has this value for value show. If you want to listen to like what it's really like implementing value for value, go to the Value for Value show hosted by Kyron Down. And he goes really deep into like what you need to do, how to do it, what the benefits are, what all the different tools are. So that's a good that's a great resource. But if you're a person who's thinking about using it, you need to think long term. That's what you need. That's what this entire thing needs. That's what media needs. That's what just more people need to start thinking about. Like, how are you going to have your roots? You know, how are you going to grow your roots? You know, this is the completely opposite of get rich quick. You know, this is plant your roots and actually grow something beautiful, grow something nutritious, grow something valuable. You know, that's what this is all about, man. That is what this is all about. It's just cool to listen to another artist who's inspired by that, man. It's just cool, man. It's just cool, man. It's cool. It's cool. And with that, folks, we are now heading on into the boosts. Oh, louder. We are now heading on into the boosts. The boosts. The America Plus is a value for value show, folks. If you don't already know, value for value means that I put effort in this show and you return the value. You return the value. You value the show what you think it's worth. That's the key to this whole thing. You're putting the value on it. I try to input the value, but you're the true output of the value. You are your words, your time, your talent, and your treasure. What I'm doing here at America Plus is I'm trying to pull together the artists. I'm trying to pull together the innovators, and I want to have more conversations about what's bettering America, what's a better system in America, what's a better system for the people of America. You know, and that doesn't have to mean the laws or like the geography, you know, like at this point in my life, to be an American, that's a spirit, you know, that's an attitude, you know, that is something that is like, it's just like something that you're vibing with. Like if you're an American, no matter where you are, you know, if you believe in these ideals, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in sovereignty, if you believe in the individual, if you believe in Bitcoin, if you believe in God, if you believe in any of these basic things, man, you are American. If you believe in equality of opportunity, if you believe in sending value to those who are valuable, to information that is valuable, that's American. That's America Plus, man, for real. So I want to I'm pulling together everyone who's a part of that. And I'm making movies. I'm telling stories. I'm speaking with people. I'm talking about it. This is like Dirty Jobs meets Walt Disney. Like, this is it, man. This is it.
This is it.
I couldn't be any more excited about that. And we're reading the boost today. We're reading the boost on Fountain. Oh, by the way.
Go to value4value.info for more info, then download the Fountain.fm app. It's the best way to support the show.
Value4value.info. Value number 4, value.info. That is the best resource to get your mind around the concept. You can chime in however you want. You can send in your time by just listening. You can give me some of your treasure if you want to be a part of my creative team, if you want to be a part of any discussion about art or about what I'm making, you can do that. or your treasure. You can send me Bitcoin through the Fountain app. The Fountain is where I'm growing the podcast community. So if you want to be a part of the podcast community, chime in, hang out. This is where it is, fountain.fm. I'm reading the boost. The first one's from @TheBosch. The Bosch. He sends in 100 sats. He says, oh, so this is from last week, number 81. I was talking about mushrooms. The last week was actually the last sat slinger, man. And I got to tell you, that promotion's still going on. So I don't know how many people I've slung sats to yet, but I'm telling you, this is one of the most successful promotions that I've done. So clearly this guy's listening to it. So @TheBosch, 100 sats. He says, someday when I have a chance, I will try mushrooms. Ooh, there we go.
And now, as the French say, it is time for le boost.
Hey, man, I'm not enticing it. I'm not telling you how to. I'm not telling you to do it. But if you want some mushrooms, man, I hope you have a good time. It's about the set and setting. Remember that. The set and the setting. Your mindset and the setting of the location of where you're at. Make sure you're around good people. If you're around people, make sure you're already in a good headset. You know, that's what you got to figure out. Next one is @Colin B. What up, Colin? He sends in 250 sats. He says, great show, man, and appreciate your mentality.
Boosting is loving.
Yes, thank you, man. I appreciate yours, man. If you vibe with this, send me a boost. If you vibe with this, only if. Next one is from @Shannon P. What up, Shannon P? Bah, bah, bah. She sends in 333 sats. This is my girlfriend, by the way, who does the artwork on the Sat Slingers. If you scroll down, Fountain, if you scroll down wherever you are and you see all the Sat Slinger images, Shannon P. Shanbam, she did all of the images. So thank you so much for Shannon for putting your hand-drawn artwork on these monthly promotions. I think it really gave a certain quality to it, and I think it just made it super cute. She sends in 333 sats. She says, R.I.P. Sat Slinger, and a salute emoji. I'll miss drawing during the drawings. Oh, wait. What did you say, Shannon? I'll miss, because you said drawing twice. I'll miss doing the drawings, but loved every minute of it. Heart emoji. Thank you.
Boosting is loving.
And then this one.
Boost.
Thank you, Shannon, so much. Thank you for the art. Thank you for giving your mind and your perspective to these images. Shannon, thank you. The next one, oh, okay. And then the next five, the next six are from our good friend @Joel W. The first couple, he sends in a satchel of Richards, a whole 1,111 sats. First one says, maybe a song of the week run at the close of each episode, or work it into the flow of the show. But yeah, I say go with it somehow. He's talking about the music. I was talking about music last week. I'm talking about music this week. Yeah, Joel, just stick around for the next few minutes. The song's going to play at the very end. Don't worry. I think that's the vibe. Next one, he says, pretty sure the first episode I listened to you was your first Sat Slinger. Whoa, can't believe it's been a fucking year. Yeah, man, me either.
Boost.
It's basically, you put Bitcoin with anything, and all of a sudden, that is more efficient.
Yeah, man, the year went by fast, right? The 2022 seemed like a weird year, and then all of a sudden it's 2023. It's like, what? And now it's like, dude, it's almost 2024, man. Like, when is the future? Like, when do we know we're in the future? Like, and when when we know we're in the future, when do we know it's our time yet? You know? Next one, 1,111 sats. He says, I think the only fly on the wall, I think the on the fly wallet switching the devs figured out is absolutely remarkable. Okay, so this is a boost referencing the value for value music being able, if you're, okay, so this is a situation that I need to open up on. I'm not able to do the value switching. That's what Joel's talking about right now. When you are hosting your own RSS feed, and when you're on sovereign feeds, and when you have some other tech, then you're able to do a value switch. But me right now, Cole McCormick, in my kitchen, and am unable to. So what's going on is I'm putting more than half of the sats to Ainsley. Ainsley is getting more than half of the sats from this episode. So that's another reason why Value for Value is so dope, because I can give the artist more than half, if I so choose. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Like 55%. That's what I'm giving her. 55% of the boost of this episode goes to her. So Joel, you talking about on the fly switching, like that is the absolute like peak. That is peak podcasting. It is peak technology, peak value for value. Being able to just hit a button and have the money just start flowing to the artist automatically. Like that's insane. He says it's absolutely remarkable and groundbreaking. The big labels are dead in 10 years. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right.
Boosting is loving.
Next one, he says, another Satchel Richards. He says, the first time I ever tripped alone, it was LSD. Whoa, Joel. First time Joel ever did some psychedelics. Was it just like one tab? Was it one tab of LSD? I wonder what that was like. Also, I'm pretty sure LSD lasts for like 12 hours. I've never done LSD, and I know that the 12 hours is an absolute haul, right? Like, mushrooms is like 5 or 6. You can handle that. You know, that's like a nice morning, and then you get good around like late lunch. But anyway, he says I wasn't a fan. So you're not a fan of LSD. But after a couple solo journeys and got comfortable with all those thoughts racing around while alone, it was a whole new and wonderful experience. Yeah, Joel. Heck yeah.
Boostar.
Dude, it's one thing to take psychedelics. It's another thing to be okay being alone on psychedelics, right? Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I guess you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a different vibe for sure. It's a definitely different vibe. And then we get the last one from Joel W. He sends it. This is massive. This is the big boy one. He says he sends in 12,365 Satoshis. Thank you, Joel. He says, here's to another year. Keep building. And the cheers emoji. Yes, sir.
Boosting is loving.
And now, as the French say,
It's
it is
basically,
time for
you put
le
Bitcoin
boost.
with anything, and all of a sudden, that is more efficient.
Joel, thank you so much for donating. The Bosch, thank you for donating. Shannon, thank you for donating. Colin, thank you for donating. So much, people. These people saw value in the show last week, and you can show your value, the value that you see in this episode right now. If you go to Fountain, send me some Satoshis, and just be a part of the community, be a producer, be a part of a new system that is actually benefiting artists, because this one in particular is going directly to the music that you're hearing right now, folks. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. This is the last week. This is how I'm trying to wrap up the episode now. This is Ainsley Costello, cherry on top, just wrapping up the week, folks. That's America Plus, bitch. Stay free.
But you had to go and tell everyone about my attention that you hadn't won. But I bet you're wondering why a cute little knife doesn't hurt my back like you thought it would. Well, thankfully you did the hard part for me, and I just think it's good. You put the cherry on top for the mess you made, but I'll leave it out to rot. Won't say a lot, won't give you the reaction that you want. See your cherry on top. It's cherry on top. 'Cause I know that if I did, your eyes would sneak away to the corner of the room. 'Cause I know that you aren't used to having it all given
Boosting is loving.
I'm not the one who put the cherry on top of the mess you made, but I'll leave it out to rot. Won't say a lot, won't give you the reaction that you want. You put the cherry on top of the mess you made, but I'll leave it out to rot. Won't say a lot, won't give you the reaction that you want. The cherry on top.